technology. Okay, so this is a pretty open-ended interview. There are no right or wrong questions.
Okay.
I just really want to see what your experience is like. Just
Okay.
sitting back so I can just
That's okay.
stabilize.
Understand.
Thank you. So to start with, can you tell me how your chronic pain started?
Every once in a while, when I started gaining weight, I started gaining weight after my first breakdown.
Oh, sorry.
It's reserved from 1 o'clock.
Oh, I have
This
a
room.
reservation at 1 o'clock and she put me in this room. From 1 to 3.
Let me double check.
Yeah, because
Because,
she had put me in
it's-
the green room, but there's a class going on and I have to record the interview, so I can't have too much noise, so she put me here, but.
Okay, let me double check.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me know.
Okay.
Oh, okay. And I can just wait right here.
Is this the study room?
They have actual study rooms too, but it was so noisy there because they have a business class going on,
Mhm.
and I hadn't seen that was happening. So let me just make sure he gives us the
Okay.
offer before we get into this discussion. I don't know if it's I'm sorry about this.
Sorry about it.
It's usually smoother.
Mm-hmm.
You just never know what day. He's coming back. Okay, looks like we're gonna be okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Oh, I was recording the whole time. Okay. I got to do that.
Let's see. When I first started gaining weight after my first breakdown, after my first year in college, noticed, little things and stuff like that. Dislocated my right shoulder when my second year in college. And that. So when it's raining every once in a while, that'll act up. But I had a really bad fall when I lived up north. It was like 4 years ago, right outside the building. They didn't put the salt down. And it landed like right on my back and my rear end.
Oh my gosh.
And then when I got up, I fell back down on my knee. So since then, and then because the medication I have, when they increased it, you want to eat after you take it. So this is the heaviest I've ever been. I was skinny all my life until, like I said, after my first year in college. And then it's mostly on my right or my left lower side. Sciatica. Like I said, when I first started gaining weight in my late 20s, early 30s, it would be like on this side, but it wasn't, too bad. I used a heating pad. But since this time, it's got to the point where even 2 summers ago, I couldn't even walk. Couldn't even, bend up. So you get into Sheridan Road or get into the train or stuff, it had to take those steps.
Mm-hmm.
But it got to the point where it radiated down the buttocks into the groin and then down to the knee and down to the feet, the foot, and the thing would numb. I went a couple times to the emergency room. They wouldn't even give me an injection for anything.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. Did you ask for one?
Yeah.
And what did they say?
And they said, well, we'll try this.
Okay.
And they put one of those stupid patches, those what they call them. Those.
Oh, kind of like the icy hot kind of stuff.
Yeah, the word I can't think of, salon pause or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
I wasn't doing anything,
Mhm.
and and I guess the emergency room was filled. That was at Weiss. That's where they took me closest. And I go, no, I want to go to Swedish Covenant, and they had me sitting in a wheelchair, and it was so painful, so painful. Almost they wouldn't even sometimes. Even the city of Chicago wouldn't even send out a emergency or a ambulance at first. And then I noticed too, if I sit too much, doesn't matter what type of chair it is, but the harder it is, of course, then either this leg starts hurting, or leg starts hurting, and then my back. Like even this morning, waiting for the bus. That hurts.
Oh, gosh.
It, and sometimes it gets to the point where it's just, it's the dull, but it hurts. So sometimes you'll see me walking down the street and I'll stop and do some, bend over or stretch the legs out, do things like that. It seems like the ibuprofen works every once in a while, and the naproxen works every once in a while. Just depends. Since I don't really sleep on my back anymore or my stomach, so I gotta watch how I sleep sometimes.
How do you sleep?
On my sides.
On your side.
So, because of the weight, it hurts more than at times. I'll sometimes put a pillow between my knees.
Sure.
And since I moved to the city in 2009, I don't have a vehicle now either. So, if I go shopping or stuff, have my cart. My old building had an elevator. This one doesn't.
Oh, wow.
So because it's just me now. I'll be lucky sometimes, and somebody will be out there to help me up, or on and off the bus, and that. I tend to isolate myself because of the diagnosis that I have.
Is there an official diagnosis?
Mm-hmm.
What do they call it?
Well, it varies. You mean for the chronic pain or for my mental illness? I wasn't diagnosed with bipolar until early 30s, even though it showed that I had, but depression and definitely anxiety. When the anxiety kicks in, more OCD. And I was also diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder from things that happened when I was growing up, and then after my divorce too. So.
And was there a diagnosis for your chronic pain?
Yes.
Okay, what was that?
That sciatica.
Okay.
And the lower back and that, and like when I first came to the city, I would go to Stroger, and I have to go to Fanta's Clinic early in the morning, and they're just like, here, try this. And then when I was up north, they go, well, let's try the chiropractor, and that really didn't do much. And the visits were only so long, so there was, other things that I had to take care of sometimes. Visits. This last visit I had a month ago, she gave me a referral to get x-rays to see if there's a ruptured disc or something like that.
And that's what you're doing today?
I'm going to turn the referral in to get the appointment. So, and that. I know the weight gain in my stomach too. I'm looking to get that reduced also, because I think that adds pressure on my back also. And it's just like yesterday. I live in a smaller 1-bedroom now, so I have one big closet and I throw things in there. So I have to lift things on my own. My mom always said when I was growing up, she goes, "You carry a dead man's load. You're gonna pay for it someday." And I do at times. And so I was hurting last night because I had to take things out, reorganize, get some laundry, and all that. And so it's I don't have the help like I did when I was married. Because there was a couple times where my back went out, and he took care of the dogs and did all that other stuff. So, and I think it has to do with age too, getting older.
Sure.
The breakdown of the knees and.
We're not as resilient.
Huh?
We're not as resilient as
Yes.
we get older.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. So, that was a really great description. I'm just trying to see if I can kind of include some of these other areas in what you've already told me.
Okay.
So how long have you been getting treatment for your chronic pain?
More, I'd say 4.5 years
Okay.
for the sciatica in the back.
Okay. And how many different physicians have you encountered during that time?
About 5.
Okay. And what kind of physicians do you work best with when you think about their communication styles and personalities?
I think general practitioners, because they tend to see a variety of things, and then they can give you the referrals to the specialist then too.
So, to clarify, when we think about like how they talk to you, what kind of information they give you, and how they work with you, what kind of physicians do you work best with?
What kind? Surgeons.
Okay, what is it about a surgeon's style that makes it easier to work with them, or that you like working with them better?
They're more detail oriented.
Oh, okay. Can you give me an example of that?
I had surgery last April. I had a hernia.
Okay.
And I had done research on my own, so I was prepared for questions, with questions and everything. And he comes in, you know, and stuff, and checks it out. And then I go, can you please do it laparoscopically? And he goes, well, let's see, you know, and asked him again, you know, specific questions, you know, about the mesh and my concerns with my weight and my asthma and that. And, you know, so he was very caring in that sense of saying, you know, don't worry, we'll get x-rays, we'll get you breathing tests, we'll do all that stuff. And this is the first time I've ever had surgery and been awake when I went into the operating room.
That was very courageous.
No, I've never had that before. When my appendix burst, they had knocked me out beforehand. So I was weird going in there, and then they, you know, did the anesthesia and all that. So it was, that was different. Dentist, I always had a great dentist. And that when I lived in the suburbs. Because I've always had sensitive teeth and receding gums ever since I was a kid. I hated my orthodontist when I was a kid because they had that thumper thing every month because I had the braces around the whole tooth.
Oh, okay.
So they had that thump. So, but I loved my dentist. Let's see.
So you work best with someone who feels like they care.
Yes.
That they're caring.
And I loved my therapist. I miss going to therapy. I really do. I miss her. I went to her for 14 years.
What happened?
Huh?
Why did you stop?
It's basically when my marriage broke up. So things totally changed then. So it was like I had the Cobra insurance for whatever 2 years, and then after that, and I couldn't get disability then because I still owned a house. I still had you know, investments, accounts, and all that stuff. So, and my mom moved in with me, and I'm an only child. So.
Okay.
So.
Were you already in chronic pain when your marriage broke up, or was it after, or how did that happen?
It was after.
The pain started after.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been divorced since 2002. So.
Okay. Going back to like working with physicians, I do want to kind of focus on the pain physicians that you've been seeing. You okay?
Yeah.
You okay with moving on?
Yeah.
Okay, just want to check in with you and make sure. When you see them for an appointment, what's the ideal length of time you want to spend with that doctor?
At least a half hour.
Okay.
A lot of times it's 10-15 minutes where you're waiting. That's the part I don't like.
Yeah, okay. And how often would you like to see that doctor if it was an ideal relationship?
Well, I think at first, if you're trying to, if you're in the process, like I'm going to be doing more of that, and if it turns out it's bad, you know, or even if choice of doing more chiropractic or whatever like that, I want to be able to see him at the beginning at least once a month, you know, to see how things progress and that. I hope it, you know, it doesn't have to be surgery, but if it does come to that, at least, you know, right after that surgery, come back in 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks, and then varies off.
Okay. Have you ever had to cancel an appointment?
Yes.
Okay.
With the pain management?
Yep.
With the chiropractor a couple times, yeah. I think it meant just a doctor's in general or appointments.
Right, sorry, I should have clarified.
Okay. So far, no.
Okay.
That was correct, no.
Oh, okay. So that's different then.
Hmm?
So it's different. You won't cancel with the pain management.
Why
is that?
Because it's really extreme when I have to go, I feel.
Got it. Have any of your pain management doctors canceled on you?
Late.
Delayed.
Yeah, that's it.
What kind of delays have you experienced?
If they're seeing, you know, of course, seeing too many patients, then maybe 10, 15 minutes.
Okay.
So.
So tell me what it's like. Oh,
Go ahead.
do you want help getting it?
Okay.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. What is it like to have this kind of chronic pain emotionally?
It's very,
How do you feel about it?
I hate it. Because it makes me feel that I'm at fault
That you're at fault.
because of my weight.
No.
And then that leads to me being at fault, thinking my depression. So, even though I know it's not my fault,
Sure.
yes, I do the blaming thing. And when it comes to being intimate, I can be in pain after, you know, a few days afterwards. So.
It's really hard to talk about.
It just seems sometimes my life revolves around it, and how to manage it.
So it kind of takes over.
Mm-hmm. And I used to be very athletic and in shape and everything. You know, so. I wish I had growing pains again. I thought those used to be the worst things. Being tall and long legged, you know, it's like, oh, that feeling inside. But, and then it makes me think, you know, okay, I'm getting older. And then that resolves to being alone. And then not having a support system.
Have you ever joined like a chronic pain support group?
Mm-mm. No.
Why is that?
I isolate myself. I tend to, since I came to the city, it's been really hard.
How long have you been in the city?
Since March 2009.
Okay.
I came homeless.
Okay.
Lost everything. My alimony did the same time my mom passed. So, and I tried, you know, getting a couple jobs, but I couldn't hold them down because of my disability. So, and I think too, the animal-related jobs that I had didn't help. I think that kind of precursor for my back too and my legs. About being a groomer, you know, pet groomer, and then doing dog rescue, so I was lifting heavy dogs and stuff. So, and being on your feet all day doing that type of stuff. And then not having a good mattress for years either.
Mm.
So that's a big thing. Having a good mattress. Everybody loves my bed. For years and years I've had to, it's like, we love your bed. It's like, yeah, I gotta make it that way. It's nice and comfy. Is it, I wished I had the money I had when I was married. Now
Mm-hmm.
I know I'd be out and about more.
Okay.
When money is tighter and limited, and I don't like to do things on my own, entertainment wise. I've always been that way.
Okay.
So sometimes just getting outside for a walk, which I know would be good for me.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think too, okay, is my lower back hurting? Because sometimes I don't even notice it until I stand up, really.
Sure.
And that's why I love seeing benches at the bus stops.
It's understandable.
And I think about even that on the bus too, right beforehand. I say, I hope I get a seat.
Mm-hmm.
Or on the train.
Right.
And it's like thinking about those things. It's just like,
Mhm.
and then sometimes I will stop and think about that, saying, well, when I was younger, I wish I was skinny again because then it wouldn't bother me.
Mm.
I don't think it would bother me as much. I don't think the pain would be there as much. That's my thinking.
When you talk about, well, are you able to tell any of this side of the story to your
Mhm.
pain management doctor?
You mean the pain or the emotion?
The emotional.
No, because it's short.
What's short?
The appointments are short, and then if I do relay something, oh, we'll get somebody coming here and talk with you, a counselor, or you need to go see, a therapist and stuff like that. I think it would really help. So it's not really, that part of it. So
Do you think it is important for them to know this?
yes.
Okay.
Mhm. I think I can't remember what that commercial was a few years back, saying a life in motion is a life something. And they were talking about chronic pain,
Mm-hmm.
and it was in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying, once I get up and get going, then I know I feel better. But the getting up is the hardest part.
Right.
I can't remember. And he had a dog in the commercial too. I remember that. He said, a life in motion or something. And I thought about that too. So sometimes, I get down on myself saying, get up, Jenny, and just go outside around the block or something. And I wanted to get a bike last summer too, but I couldn't find one that I wanted. So I wish I could run like I used to. Things
You
like
used
that.
to go running?
Yeah, when I was younger and skinnier. I enjoyed that.
So what is it like to relate to the staff that manages your pain then? Whether if it's like the nurse or the doctor, it sounds like you don't share as much with them as you would like.
Mm-hmm.
But this is important information too.
Mm-hmm.
So in general, what's it like having a conversation with them or talking about your pain?
Nurses are always more personable.
Are they?
Yeah, they tend to be.
Does it help when they're more personable?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Most of the time, it's so weird too that it's never failed. Like the first 2 visits I had years ago, it was so much pain I get, and then the day I go, it's hardly there. So when they do the leg stretches up and
That
everything,
always happens, isn't it?
just like colds, when they have. So when they do the legs up above your head and all that type of stuff, it just, I don't know. I think it may be because it is a common thing,
Mm-hmm.
and they see it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's just a broad general diagnosis
Mm-hmm.
that they give.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's important that they really pinpoint more than they don't.
What kind of things would you like for them to pinpoint? Like, can you give me an example?
Well, they ask where it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think they should ask, well, what activity were you doing beforehand? Or what happened, do you think, an injury? Or, what's your activity level like?
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. And what's prevented you from,
Okay.
things like that.
So the doctors you've worked with don't ask those questions?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Did you ever try to, like, insert it here and there? Because it is important.
Mm-hmm. Like with my weight, and they go, yeah, that has a factor on it. Okay, then set me up with something. You know what I mean? It's not that I don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I never had that problem until my first breakdown in college.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I still have tendencies to do some things. That's the manic part. I would experience that every other week. I'm getting a lot of stuff done. And it hasn't been manic to the point of the anxiety cycle. Like yesterday in the closet. But it's, well, like they say, preventative medication, like Obamacare and things, like insurance has been wanting to do, is prevent things from happening, of course. And I guess I would like, how do I put it? Because weight can cause diabetes. Like before my surgery, they're seeing that too. She says you might be borderline diabetic. Don't be scared or anything. So now that's like, okay, on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So I really watch what I would eat, but then sometimes I totally forget. So I guess it was, instead of just slapping, a lot of time, and then a lot of doctors don't want to give pain pills out.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very hard to get pain pills.
Mm-hmm.
Very hard. And the few times that I have had them, they work like wonders.
Oh, they do.
Especially if or just a steroid shot, you know what I mean? Something like that.
Have you ever had something like that? Or
Uh-huh.
oh, they just don't get them anymore?
They don't want to do it.
Okay.
I don't know if it's because of the city or the drug, the drug abuse or something like that. I don't know.
So who's making the decisions?
Emergency room,
Okay.
general practitioner.
Okay. This is the same general practitioner that you've been working with for?
Same clinic.
Same clinic.
Sometimes over the last, since 2009, I've had like 5 different ones at this clinic.
Oh, I see.
Because they don't stay, they move on.
I see. So what's it like to ask for like a shot or pills?
Oh, we'll try that, or no, I'm not going to do that.
Mm-hmm. How does it make you feel? Like the whole discussion?
That they don't care,
Mm-hmm.
and that put it, one, that they don't care, that the pain really hurts, that the health industry itself doesn't care.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they don't want to, there's so many people that are hooked on pain medications.
Mm-hmm.
And just to be perfectly honest, after my mom passed, I started doing crap, not pain pills. I never, because when my mom passed and everything, it was the hardest thing I ever had to deal with. And I started smoking crack cocaine.
Okay.
Wasn't an everyday thing, but it was the point in my life where I didn't need to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why when I had nowhere to go, that's why I came to the city. I went to Haymarket for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to disclose it to doctors,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't do it anymore because I've been clean since then,
Mm-hmm.
and everything. But still, I don't know if it's just the city of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's even with anxiety medication, Hydrazine.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there were times when it was really, really bad that I needed a Klonopin.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And I've had to go to the emergency room, and there was an Ativan or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to do that 4 times since I came to the city. And it's like, And those times they didn't even know about my past. So it's just that categorizing of
Somewhere.
judging me before they even know me. So that type of thing. And
How do you respond to that?
a couple times I'm like, I haven't begged, but it's like I try to explain to him how it works better for me in the long run.
Okay.
You know, like for example, the Klonopin. When I was in one of the homeless shelters, one of the girls was having major anxiety, you know, because of a situation that happened, and she gave me one, and it stopped the anxiety right away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And before that, the doctors had given me that one, hydrazine, which is basically Benadryl, so it's good for that, but for allergies, but it just keeps, you know, because the cycle gets worse and worse with anxiety and everything like that. So it, you know, it nipped the chemical and my mind cycle going. Xanax, you can't even get that anymore either. My one psychiatrist gave me Xanax when I was going through my divorce, but that didn't really affect me at all. So you just feel discounted. I don't feel like I'm important enough. Like just another cattle coming in and out of the pen, you know, just, okay, is that person okay? Okay. Oh, a little scratch, just put a little Band-Aid on it.
But clearly you're not okay because you're suffering.
Right. I mean, I guess with my insurance I can go anywhere I want to go, but I've noticed that in the city too, doctors want referrals.
Okay.
When I lived down in the burbs, I didn't have any problems, you know, just call up a doctor and make the appointment.
But it's hard to get an appointment without a referral, is that what you're saying?
Now, yeah, in the city. On the burbs, like I said, I could, if I wanted to go see a you know, just make the appointment. I didn't need a referral from my dentist. I didn't need a referral from my insurance company. Didn't need any of that. So, I guess I don't know if it's just the city of Chicago, because they deal with so much more people. So, it's very, very frustrating. Very frustrating. I mean, even like when I'm walking, like when I walked here from Jackson and stuff, I stopped at the library just for a quick, because they always have those discarded books right there. And but they didn't have any. But I've done this maybe it's the OCD part of me, I don't know, ever since I was a kid. Like when I used to exercise or run and stuff, I would shut that part of my brain off of how far I had to go. I would concentrate on being in the moment, or set little goals saying, okay, that tree's right there. Okay, that's right there. So I kind of do that with my walking sometimes.
Okay.
When I've got to go around the city and that. Very detail oriented about things, thinking, okay. And I don't like the stairs either, at the trains or that, if I have to do the trains. I used to do it because I didn't like it because of my weight. But then when the pain in my back was even worse. You know, so it's so I think, you know, there's been times where I've gone grocery shopping and I bought too much.
Boy, do I know that. Yeah.
And since, you know, I take public transportation and everything, it's like that. So, and I know that's not good on me either, to do that on my back. So yeah, even I have to always think about how far I gotta go. And sometimes I will even take the longer routes. And then other days, if I'm feeling really good, and doesn't have to do with the weather either, I'll push myself. And then I'll mind over matter of saying, well, it's good exercise for me to do that. So.
How's the pain at that time?
It depends.
Okay.
It varies, but it's always there. It's always there. And I like going to freecycle.org.
It's one of my favorites.
And then also free under Craigslist.
Mhm.
And I wanted to get because a lot of my stuff is still in storage in the burbs. And I wanted to get a little Christmas tree. And so there was one on, I think, Craigslist or something.
Oh yeah.
And she said it was a little, storage bin and everything. Went and got it. But I had stopped at the grocery store because there was one really located right there. So, and I didn't have my cart. And so I stuffed everything in there.
Mhm.
And I had to walk so far, my back's killing me. And everything like that. So I've learned not to care if people see me.
Okay.
I've learned a long time ago. But if you take a few steps, put it down, then take some breathers, and then do it again. But because I really never had these problems when I had a vehicle
Mhm.
as much.
Right.
So I could never imagine walking around as much as I do in the city, or even because we had a small grocery store right down the street. I always took the vehicle. See how many blocks is it? 1, 2, 3. It'd be like Congress to say Adams.
Mhm.
Took the vehicle. You're just so used to it in the burbs.
That's true.
Here, can walk a long time.
Mhm.
I mean, I had to walk even before I got my disability. We'd walk from PGM on Canal and all the way to Polk and Harrison every Saturday. Things like that. But that's before the really chronic pain happened.
Mhm.
So,
So the real chronic pain happened after you moved back into the city?
the chronic pain happened when I finally got a place up north.
Okay.
And it was like, it was one of the first bad winters we had in a long time. And it was that February. It was
That was when they didn't put down assault? Is that what you
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I just landed just right. So. And then I think too, because then I got up, fell on my knee. Then I went up to Walgreens and I came around the corner and I fell the same way again. So,
You remember it very vividly.
yes, very painful. Very, very painful. Because I was even taking those little scoochy steps.
It's really rough.
And I noticed that too. In the wintertime, it's worse.
Mhm.
Because, if I do take those scoochy steps, then I'm more tense on my back too then.
There's a whole lot of tension in your whole body.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, and then you forget to breathe then too.
Exactly.
So then I'm short of breath. So,
Just checking how we're doing on time. This is really
Okay.
great. Anything else you want to tell me about your experience with chronic pain?
Some people slough it off. People, that significant others, the ex-fiance here,
Mm.
his thing was, you just need to lose weight
Mm.
and get out and about more. So it's more degrading than anything. That I'm the reason why the pain's there.
Mm.
But of course, when a man's hurt, they're big babies. And the thing is, I have a very high tolerance for pain.
Mhm.
Always have.
Mhm.
So it's got to be really, really bad if it's hurting this much.
Yeah.
That's what I think too. Because even when my appendix burst, I just woke up
Mhm.
and I felt a sharp pain.
Mhm.
And then I was like, why isn't it not going away?
Mhm.
And then I thought maybe I was constipated. So I took a couple laxatives and it still didn't go away, And about 12 hours later, I went to the emergency room
Oh,
and they did it. And then 12 hours later, after through everything, they finally did surgery. I was in the hospital over a week for that because I had 105, 106 temperature, all the infection and everything.
That's right.
So, I mean, for that, they go, why didn't you? It's like, I don't know. But I've always had a high tolerance for pain. I've always pushed through things.
Okay.
Always have. So, like I said, for this to be so painful still,
Mhm.
even in its moderate stage,
Mhm.
then I know it's really, like I said, I know it's really, really bad.
Sure.
So.
Thank you for sharing with me.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to turn this one off then. Go ahead.
With my mom, she was always a hard worker.
Mhm.
She did factory jobs and bartending jobs. And I noticed, growing up and everything, when she was really overweight, I noticed that with pain. But then when I became a teenager more and more, and then after college for me and everything, the arthritis in her hands, and her fingers,
Mhm.
and then not expecting your parent to get older because you don't like it,
Mhm.
and then seeing where she had to get more sleep or she couldn't do this or lift that.
Mhm.
And then when she moved in with me those last 5 years, when I was going through my divorce, seeing that, it was just, I felt for her because I could feel the pain for some,
Mhm.
we were always close about that. And then what she passed away from was a brain tumor. So, and it was the worst kind you can get. It was the stage 4 glioblastoma multiforme. And apparently, it had grown in 6 months, and we thought she had a stroke. So that 2 weeks before she had the first seizure, and that last week she couldn't even move hardly or anything. So it was just seeing and making me think too about how we're so dependent on mobility.
Mhm.
And there was a couple times in the beginning where she wanted to go to the bathroom, and I physically could not. She wasn't super overweight then, that I could not physically get her up.
Mhm.
And she just started crying, and is like thinking again how dependent we are on our mobility.
Yeah.
And then because of this happening to me, I think about the older I get, not having a support system.
Mhm.
Am I going to be one of those people that are left alone in a nursing home? So with her, it's like, that mortality came up more with her. So, and I can't imagine what she went through. So, because, like I said, she was always a hard worker. She would work through pain, no matter what.
Mm.
Me, I'll call it to work. Who cares? That's my attitude back then. So, but, I don't know. Okay.